This is episode number 105 of the Homeowners Show. Whether you're DIY or looking to hire, we're here to help you find the best information and options for you and your home. My name is Kevin Hackett, and here with me is Craig Williams.
Hello, and welcome to the Homeowners Show. We're glad that you could join us for this next expedition into your home ownership journey.
Yes, expeditions can be both travel and cars.
That's right, and you just got one, didn't you?
No, I did not.
Oh, it wasn't an expedition, it was an excursion.
I just got a brand new 16-year-old Ford Excursion. Yes, I did. And let me tell you, man, that thing is sweet.
Yeah.
I am loving it.
Yeah, you're going to be the party bus for a while.
Yeah, I mean, you can comfortably seat 8 adults in that thing.
Well, that's in the seats. I mean, you still got some space in the back, too. I mean, you can you can roll a couple around back there as well.
Yeah, so, like, if you got rid of one of your children and we decided to go, like, to Florida,
right?
We could put all our stuff back there and all of the people.
Oh, we could do Camp Wilderness.
We could, yes. We absolutely. Now we would have to figure out which one of your kids we don't want because there's only 8 seats, not 9. But
man,
yeah, man, we started talking about this a little bit back on the episode. Which one was it? The credit repair episode. Yeah, we started talking about it a little bit, and I kind of put the brakes on that whole thing for a while, and I kind of came back to it and. Here I am, man. So yeah, it's awesome.
I can't believe I just let you use the brakes pun.
Do you really let me do anything?
I may take it I take it out in the editing. That's
right.
That's unacceptable.
Yeah.
We don't allow puns.
Yeah. What are you going to do? Well, hey, before we get too far, I want to go ahead and do something. We promised our listeners that we were going to promote something that we just got recently.
Well, this is really exclusively for the YouTubers.
Yeah, specifically for them because you're going to have to be able to watch this in order to see what's going on. But we got a new friend.
Yeah.
I like new friends.
New friends are cool.
New friend. His name is Lorne Fox, and he does these really cool signs. And here's our new one that he's done for us. It's made with a CNC machine. It's wood.
I assume it's made with a CNC machine.
I don't know how else he would do it.
I don't know.
But
yeah, I don't think he's given up his trade secrets because he knocked it out of the park with that one.
He sure did. It's really cool, man. So we're gonna hang this up in the Homeowner Show studio.
Yeah, I think it's gonna go right there on that lovely gray wall that you all never get to see.
Well, you're gonna see it at some point because if we're putting that thing up on the wall, it's gonna get in a shot at some point.
Yeah.
So pretty cool.
Yeah. So something else cool that's been going on is we've broken through some barriers in the Homeowner Show here, and part of that is we've been conversing with other podcasters.
Yeah.
Mostly because I feel like we've had enough episodes and we've garnered enough stature now that we're worthy to enter the realm of actual podcasters.
Yeah, people actually look at us and say, "Oh, you're an actual podcast."
You're not just faking anymore.
You've had 100 episodes. That means you're actually on the scene.
That's right.
I don't know what scene it is, but we're there.
We're there.
Yeah,
we're on it. So some folks that we just met recently are Ashley and Susanna over at Your Home Story podcast, and it's a very similar podcast to what we do, except it's a couple of lovely ladies. Talking about a lot of DIY and home decorating stuff, and they do a really, really good job. So if you're thinking to yourself, you know what, I could really use more Homeowners Show type of content in my life, we've already found it for you.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, like I know that you and I are both podcast listeners.
Yes.
And once you kind of find a genre of things that you like, I find that it's always fun to find new things that kind of feed into that as well.
Yeah. So. And who knows, maybe in the future they'll jump on our show. Maybe we'll jump on their show and do some guest spots.
That'd be great.
And talk about, podcasting and stuff that other stuff that they actually probably know about that we probably don't know about.
Yeah, they probably actually know what they're talking about.
They probably actually know what
and we just bring people on our show that know what they're talking about.
Yeah,
that's very different.
It's a very different strategy. It's a bold strategy.
Well, hey,
so
we've put out 105 episodes of content at this point, so we're fooling somebody.
That's right. We've never offered to fool anybody.
That's
I
true.
think we've been very upfront with our ignorance.
With our ugly looks.
That's right.
I mean, all of the things, we're honest, if nothing else.
Someone a while back said that we should do us, and that's what we're doing.
Well, we are nothing but us.
They said, you do you. And I said, okay.
That I know how to do. There's very few places that allow me to do it.
Yeah.
So this is it.
So, well, if you get the chance, Ashley and Susanna are doing their thing over on Your Home Story podcast. So tune in, give them a listen, leave them a review, let them know you're out there. I know they'd love to hear from you, especially from you lovely homeowner show crowd people.
That's right.
So
cool.
So today, we haven't done one of these in a while.
No.
So, but we're actually doing a product review.
Yeah, it's been a while. I don't even remember what our. The last time we kind of got into this kind of conversation was right before we hit 100, where we kind of talked about power tools.
Yeah, we did talk, and I think we even dipped our toe a little bit into this particular tool that we're going to be talking about.
We did.
But it's an interesting one because there's really only. Okay, let me back this up. There's only 2 legitimate ones on the market. There are other ones on the market that are out there, and I'll even name some of them because I've used the brands, just seeing if they're any good, and they're not. But I'm a big tester. I mean, if it's out there and it says it'll perform, I'm willing to give it a go.
Well, and this one specifically ties directly into your business.
It does,
and so you're having to use this day in, day out. This isn't just something kind of a DIYer type of thing. This is your livelihood, that you're putting everything on the line with this deal.
Well, and that's why we're testing it. And we've tested it extensively at this point. And we just got one because we didn't want to invest in the line until we knew it was going to be viable.
Sure.
And that can be tricky with this brand, even though I like this brand. Let's just peel the Band-Aid off. So what we're talking about today, where you keep teasing it,
right.
There's no need to tease this.
Right.
So
they literally read it in the title.
So like you guys know.
If you can read, you already know what it is.
So what we're talking about is the Ryobi 4-gallon backpack sprayer.
Okay.
So, and I have to be very specific when I say that because Ryobi also has a 1-gallon battery-operated sprayer and a 2-gallon battery-operated sprayer, which operate with different canisters, different platforms, even different handles.
Okay, so do you think that those are differently? I'm
not sure that's a word.
Differently?
Differently? Is that
it? Is. Yeah, differently.
Are they differently?
Yes. Are they differently?
The grammar police is going to come for us. For you.
I'm not wrong here. Differently. Like I did that differently than you.
Okay.
That's a word.
Maybe it was just weird the way you used it.
Well, probably because I didn't ever finish my thought process.
Okay.
Are they kind of promoting that to different people? So for example, like if it's a 1-gallon or even a 2-gallon. So at my house, I have a 2-gallon sprayer that I use for weeds and, things like that. So do you think that the 4-gallon kind of steps it up to a whole new level, and maybe it is more for people that are doing commercial types of things?
The only reason I think no is because it's operating on their 18-volt line.
Okay.
I think if they were trying to promote it more for more commercial use, which I don't think has ever been Ryobi's direction, I think it's mostly directed at residential homeowners and things like that for the tool line. That being said, they have some new and interesting tools that makes me think that maybe they're going in a different direction. Yeah. But most of those are hanging out like they have like some PEX crimpers and PVC cutters and grease guns and caulk guns that are all operated on the 18-volt line that are not your typical homeowner tools that you're going to be using day in and day out.
Right.
Whereas like a drill, a saw, different things like that's more up their alley. But all that to say, it's not, and I forget what the voltage is on their bigger batteries that they're using their lawn equipment for.
Most of them are 40 volt.
Is it 40 volt? Okay.
I think it's a 40 volt.
So it's not a 40 volt, which, I mean, to a certain degree would make sense for what we use it for.
Yeah.
So, and I'm actually waiting. I had a message from somebody that said that they were in development at Ryobi because of a post I made in a Facebook group somewhere about this episode. Someone reached out to me and said, "Hey, we work in development at Ryobi. We'd really like to talk to you about this." And I'm still waiting to hear from you, development people. Would love to talk to you. I have some ideas for you.
Yeah.
I have some thoughts. But so this backpack. So I think they're pushing it towards the homeowner still.
Okay. But why would a homeowner need a 4-gallon sprayer?
At least around here, I know yards tend to be a little bit bigger than most other suburban areas.
That's true.
And depending on the kind of fence that you have, like I know a lot of like people that live on golf courses have metal fences. If they want to do weed control chemically with a backpack sprayer or something like that, they're going to need more than 2 gallons.
Yeah, and I guess if you're going to have a backpack, what's the point in putting 2 gallons back there?
Well, and that was actually what I was going to say is the 1 gallon and the 2 gallon actually have a backpack accessory that you can buy. So rather than just having to hold it in your hand, you can shoulder strap it and use it that way, which makes total sense because you're not having to pump it.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, those things get heavy.
Sure.
I mean, 2 gallons, I mean, you're talking 16 pounds.
I don't know what it is exactly.
Well, typically a gallon of water is 8 pounds.
Is it?
So you're talking 16 pounds. I mean, that's not lightweight.
Right.
If think about the amount of space you're going to be covering in 2 gallons worth of spray.
Right.
I mean, that's a decent amount to hold on to.
Right. So, and like, I'll tell everybody out there why we went this way, because the only other person out there right now that's making what I consider to be a viable backpack sprayer is Milwaukee. Well,
and we know based on what we've talked about in the show before that Milwaukee makes a very good product.
They make a real good product. I haven't used the Milwaukee. I've watched lots and lots of videos about the Milwaukee, and the reason we decided to start testing the Ryobi is I could really not see a performance difference between the two based on the videos.
Yeah.
Just based off of Milwaukee's 18 volt, Ryobi's 18 volt, I don't see how one is gonna be able to outperform the other.
Well, I guess the only difference is if their function changes, like whether it's a nozzle or just maybe the grip on something or the way the backpack fits, or just kind of some nuances that make it different. But beyond that,
yeah, and I will say the Milwaukee does have different materials that it uses for the handle.
Okay.
That being said, one of the reasons we started looking into the smaller sprayers for Ryobi, because it looks like the handles and the spray nozzles on the smaller sprayers are actually a better material than they are for the backpack sprayer. And so if they are interchangeable, it would be worth us investing in those smaller sprayers just to get those compatible spray nozzles for the backpack.
Okay.
Because it could potentially actually make it perform better.
So you're saying they do have different nozzles and they should be interchangeable.
They should be.
So, I mean...
Now, and the backpack itself actually comes with 3 or 4 different spray nozzle tips.
Okay.
And now they're all plastic.
Can you order replacements of those?
You can. Yeah.
Okay. So if you can order replacements, you would think that you'd be able to order replacements for the lower end model or the 1 gallon.
I would think so.
So maybe you just buy new nozzles.
Well, and my experience has been with these sprayers in the backpack line. Most of those are universal as to the size of the what do you call it? Where they screw on.
Oh yeah.
What do you call that?
It's
who knows, the screwy-on thing.
Well, I don't
care.
It's kind of like a bolt.
It's where the nozzle screws onto the handle.
Yeah.
So whatever that thing's called, that's
the bolty screwy thing.
Yeah, that one. I know exactly what you're talking about. So, and we've looked into some different handles as well.
Okay.
Because there's actually like some pistol grip handles that are a little bit more functional for us. And some of these other ones that they've come out with, they tend to break really easy. And so if you can get like a metal one, that it'll last a little bit longer.
Well, and I would imagine, like, you talked about a pistol grip, for example, like that would be more comfortable.
Oh, for sure.
Just the way you have to hold your hand versus some of those where you have to like grip them and squeeze.
There's advantages to those as well. But for sure, the pistol grip would be a lot easier. And like when we use a big commercial sprayer, we almost always opt for the pistol grip nozzle. It's just easier to use.
Sure.
So all that to say, there's some pluses and some minuses.
All right.
So you let me know which way you want to go first.
Let's talk about. I always like talking about the positive.
The positive.
So let's go positive.
Okay. So big positive is it's a big capacity tank. Most backpack sprayers are around 3 to 3.5 gallons. This one's a full 4.
Yeah.
So you can put a lot more product in there than you normally would. That makes it a little bit heavier, but it actually sits on the back really, really nice.
Okay. Does it have a belt?
It does not have a belt.
Okay.
But it doesn't feel like it needs one either.
Okay.
It sits. I don't know. There's not really I don't know how to describe it.
Right.
Traditionally, we use steel products.
Yes.
And let me right off the bat, the steel performs better.
Okay.
But I've never, ever, and I've tried out lots and lots and lots of backpacks. I've never found one to perform like steel. And
okay.
it's their SG20. And honestly, the design of it is basically like a super soaker. You have a chemical tank and then you have a pressure tank.
Okay.
And you pressurize the pressure tank and you can feel it in the handle as you get it. And I can shoot that thing 20, 25 feet in the air.
Goodness gracious.
And it just puts out product really, really nice. I've not found one to perform as well as that, including this one.
Okay.
And when I can talk about some of the other brands, but the steel is also very long. And so it sits low on the back and it's not very comfortable.
Okay.
This Ryobi, man, it has a mesh back and padding at the base, and it just feels better on the body. And so if you're going to be using it a lot, or if you're going to be carrying it for any amount of time, you want something that feels a little bit more comfortable. And it actually feels more expensive than any other backpack that I've put on. So it feels really, really nice. It has a good back feel to it. So that's really nice. The battery that comes with it. So we bought the one that came with the battery and the charger. And the battery is a 2 amp hour battery.
Okay. So you're getting out of that, you're getting what, like 25, 30 minutes out of it?
No, I'm definitely getting more than that out of it.
More than that? Really?
So what they have said, and we haven't put the timer on it, but we've tried to put it to the limit, is that it will run 40 gallons of material.
40.
That's what it says.
So if that's the case, you're going from house to house to house in your business, but,
right?
But goodness gracious, that's at least a day's worth, isn't it?
Right. And so to put it in perspective, whenever we stop the truck for our business, we're putting about 3 gallons of product out at each house.
Okay.
So, and in a day, our techs will run through, 8 to 12 stops. And so at 3 gallons, we're not hitting 40 gallons, but none of the people that have tested this backpack have had to recharge the battery.
Wow.
In a day.
And that's really impressive because one of the things you would wind up having to do is just either carry multiple batteries,
right,
which you're probably going to need to carry one just in case.
Yeah.
But then you got to wind up thinking about, okay, do I need to put a power inverter in my vehicle so that I can charge these things? What do I do? I'm looking here on Ryobi's, on the Home Depot website, because that's where you buy most Ryobi products. You can get a 4 amp hour battery for $100.
Right.
Which is also kind of some pluses about these.
I think they have a 6 amp as well.
They may. I haven't seen it yet, but yeah, $100 for a 4 amp hour battery. If that would get you closer to 2 days even. That's impressive.
Yeah. Well, and so one of the reasons this one will work is because we use Ram trucks.
Yeah.
And all the new Ram trucks actually come with a power inverter in the front seat.
Perfect.
And so you can charge the battery in the front seat. You can plug the charger in and it just charges the battery. It's no big deal.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of times with these rapid chargers, you could probably get it charged up between calls.
Yeah.
Or at least close to it.
Easy.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, I mean, like what we've done is we've kept the backup backpack just in case the battery goes dead, but we've tried to push the battery, you know, as far as we can.
Yeah.
And it's performed well. And it's their smallest battery. But like for their smallest battery, it does the job. Yeah. I mean, like for what we need it to do, it does the job. So I guarantee you it would last as long as you need it to at your home.
Sure.
I mean, I can't imagine a homeowner needing 40 gallons of material.
Oh, you're going to have some land.
I mean, I guess maybe if you're like fertilizing, liquid fertilizing, I could maybe, but like
who does liquid fertilizing? I mean, if you're doing that much product, you're going to recognize it's a whole lot cheaper to buy the solid fertilizer than the liquid stuff.
Which they also just came out with a 18-volt broadcaster.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Just take my money, Ryobi. Take my money.
It's handheld. It's not a push, but like
that's fine. Like, I mean, even with the push stuff, I mean, I'm guaranteed that it's smaller than my broadcast spreader. In size. I was thinking just the other day, I'm like, this stupid thing, I use it like 4 times a year, if that. It's taking up so much room in my garage. Yeah. Then that thing would be so much smaller, just set up on a shelf or something. You know, already got plenty of batteries.
Yeah. I mean,
oh my goodness.
I think it's pretty cheap too. I think it was like $40 or something like that.
See, It shows like this, Craig, that make me need a second job.
Yeah.
So that I can buy all the toys that I want.
Dude, so I mean, since we're talking about the other one, they have a inflator now.
Oh, yeah.
You can like inflate a tire.
Sure.
And it's the 18-volt inflator.
I
think it's $26.
You've got to be joking.
I'm not.
I mean, well, okay, here's a question. I got big tires on that excursion.
Well, I don't know how long it would take.
I need to go get that 6 amp hour battery.
I can tell you the exact thought process in my brain. That $26 is worth me not having to go get the air compressor to blow up the basketball.
Every time.
I mean,
absolutely.
Just so I don't have to hear that stupid. I had to turn this stupid thing on to inflate a basketball.
Right.
Or a bicycle tire or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, or heaven forbid, I've got to like pump something. Yeah. Right? Like,
okay, so they have a whole separate one just for that. They call it their power inflator. Dude, I've been neck deep in Ryobi because we've really been trying to make the decision as to what tools to put in our Tex trucks. And so like if this backpack battery operated sprayer works, it's like, well, we kind of have to go that route because then they have the batteries that they need to do the drill and the saw and everything else that they need in the truck. And so like then they'll just have the batteries backed up for the sprayer.
Well, you know, that's a real interesting point because one of the reasons that I put the kibosh on the excursion to begin with is because I was replacing the windshield. This is a whole story that I'm not going to get into, but I was replacing the windshield on my pickup that I was selling, and I wound up having a problem, and I just got really fed up. But the guy that owned the company came out to my house and fixed the problem, and he had his truck open, and I could see he had a Ryobi charging, a Milwaukee charging, and a DeWalt charging.
That's like my nightmare.
Yeah, he had 3 different batteries, and he was telling me, like, you know, I did this and this and this, and I found out that this one works best for this and that for that. And I'm like, man, it would be so much smarter for you to find a line that really works and just go with it. And there is not, we've already discussed this on episode number 99. There is not a battery system that rivals the number of products that Ryobi has.
Yep.
It's not out there. And they continue to develop more and more and more.
Yep.
And these batteries we've already talked about it. They're way more powerful than a gas engine or, you know, anything like that.
Yeah. Well, and so I think we were talking about the bad stuff.
We're talking
about the good stuff or the bad stuff.
We're definitely off topic for a minute.
And so here's another good thing about it. And this is actually one of the other reasons we decided is it's $149.
What? I think that Milwaukee's way more than that, isn't it?
The Milwaukee without the battery is $299. With the battery, it's $399.
Goodness gracious.
And so it's like, there's no way it can perform $150 or $200, $250 more than this.
No. Okay, well, let me ask you this. You said it won't spray as far as your steel, right?
Okay, so we can get into that in a minute.
Okay, I'm just wondering if that would make a difference.
It can spray as far.
Oh, okay.
The distance isn't the issue.
Okay. We'll get into that. I was just wondering, like, at what point would something be worth that much more? But it doesn't sound like there's probably a scenario for you that it makes sense.
I can't foresee. I mean, like, I'm willing to give it a go, Milwaukee. Like,
send one to us.
Send me one. I'll test it out.
Sure.
And I'll give my honest feedback. I just can't see it performing that much better.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing is, like, I already know that I can get a steel for $129.
Yeah.
But I've got to pump that.
You got to hand pump it.
And so, like, I already have a better product at a cheaper price.
Right.
It's just a convenience issue. It's a safety issue. It's
sure.
all sorts of different issues are at play is why we're checking this thing out. So that's probably all the good stuff about it.
But okay. Well, let's talk about price for just a minute, though.
Yeah.
Because not only is that a good price for a product, but you know that their batteries are cheaper.
Yes.
The batteries for the long haul, you're going to spend less money on equally good batteries. I mean, the batteries, we can talk about this at some point if we want to, but the amount of performance difference that you're going to get out of an 18-volt Ryobi versus an 18-volt Milwaukee just for this specific purpose is going to be very similar.
I would imagine.
I mean, you're still putting the same number of volts through it.
Right.
The amp hours may be different, but it's still the same voltage.
Well, and even if it's like a longevity issue, I mean, like, I'm not great at math, but like, you know, like a $50 battery versus, like, I don't know how much Milwaukee battery. I assume they're like $100.
You said they're $100 more for the battery with the product,
right?
So
I imagine they're about $100. Yeah. I mean, so, like, let's say it lasts half as long. Well, I mean, I'm still going to be spending the same amount of money.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm still willing to roll the dice and say that the cheaper one lasts longer at this point.
Yeah.
So it's just, you know, and if I have multiple batteries, like, there's less of an opportunity for one to, anyway.
Well, your likelihood of being stranded on the job without a battery,
right,
is way less.
Well, because, like, you know, just budgetary restraints, I'm not going to have as many batteries.
Sure.
From the other brand. So, and if it feels like we're picking on Milwaukee, we are a little bit. Yeah. Because they're the only other ones that make a battery operated backpack sprayer. That's legitimate.
Right.
I'm looking at you, Chapin.
Well, and we've said on another episode, we love Milwaukee.
Yeah.
This is nothing against them. It's just that your products are a lot more expensive, Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, and I was actually on one of these DIY Facebook groups, and there was a lady on there that posted a picture of a Chapin battery operated backpack, and she goes, hey, can somebody tell me, like, why I shouldn't buy this? Because it's on clearance at Walmart. And I was looking at the packaging and I was like, one, it's a Chapin.
Yeah.
2, it says that it's using a Black & Decker battery. Ugh. And 3, it's on clearance.
Right.
They don't sell things cheap because they think they're great.
Right.
They sell things cheap because they need it out the door. And
nobody's
they want
buying
some sucker to take it off their hands.
That's right.
And I've used the regular hand pump Chapin backpacks and they're terrible.
There you go. Enough said.
I've used multiple variations of it. They're the worst.
All right, so let's move on. We've talked about some pretty good things about it. So what are some of the cons?
Well, real quick, one last good thing.
Okay, good.
It actually has a larger opening than any other backpack I've used.
You mean for you to pour your product into?
Yeah, and to pour water into, which is good, because typically what you do is you put your product in first, or you put like a base level amount of water in, then you add your product, and then you pour water in on top of that in order to mix the product.
Bubbles up, right?
Depending on the product you're using, it can do that.
Okay.
The issue that you worry about is when it's kind of narrow and shallow, is it usually has, and this one does, it has a screen at the top in order to keep debris from getting into the tank.
Okay.
So that your pump doesn't get clogged and all that because it's you're going to get debris just because you're mixing chemicals and things like that there anyway. But your concern is splashback. And so with a wider mouth and a little bit deeper net, you're not having as much splashback when you're adding water to the product.
Sure.
Which is safer.
Yeah.
And some of these lids that they put on these backpacks, you kind of have to like grab them like a giant pickle jar in order to...
Yeah, you got to use two hands.
Yeah. So this one actually has a handle on the top, which is so that you can kind of grab it and twist it.
Okay.
And it also doubles as a snap hold for the wand.
Oh, perfect.
So and it actually has two places where you can snap the wand into place, but the top one actually grabs it a little bit better. It's a good design, but it also at the same time, if it's riding around the back of the truck, it has the potential to like hit something and break. So we tend not to use that one. But if you're just storing it on a shelf in your house, it's going to be great.
Yeah. That's probably one of the most annoying things about most every sprayer that I've ever had. It's like, what do you do with the wand? Like, it just, that hose is rubber, and it just kind of like,
it dangles and it gets hung on stuff. Yeah, no, it's the worst. So if you got something to snap it to, and so they have one on the side so you can stand it up. That's, for our purposes, that's a little bit better. Yeah. But the one on the lid definitely secures it better. Okay. It snaps it a little bit harder in place.
Cool.
So that's most of the good stuff that I came across. And keep in mind, when I say bad stuff, it's just not that it's bad. It just doesn't perform like other products would that do it better.
Yeah.
So, and really my main booger with this thing is it just doesn't put out the level of product that I'm used to with a steel.
Okay. What do you mean specifically?
So
about that?
we like to put down a heavy band and like know that when we are putting product, we're actually getting like good coverage over that area. Yeah. So like if me or any of my guys have to like double back over an area, it's wasting, it's cutting into our efficiency on account time. And anybody that runs a business knows that efficiency is a huge aspect to your business being successful. Right. And so anything that like takes away from that is it's just difficult. Yeah. So this one just doesn't put out the level of product like a steel. It's good. It's putting out a good amount of product, but because of the fan tips that it use, it's not an equal proportion of product. And so like if I take my steel and I go up to the side of your house where your foundation is and I pull that handle, I know that spot that I've set my fan tip to, I'm going to get complete coverage of that area. Right. This one, I get good coverage, but like I can still see dry spots. Okay. And dry spots to me mean vulnerability. And so that's just not a good thing. And so like we kind of have to like are doubling back a little bit in order to get the right... but still, it's still performing. Let me put it this way: this backpack is still performing better than a traditional pump-up Chapin from Home Depot. Like it's just way better. Yeah, and so it's still putting out a good amount of product. It's still so you kind of have to like go back and forth between, am my doubling back, is that as much energy as I would have to be exerting to pump this thing up?
I would guess the answer is no.
It's not. Yeah.
And we're also talking about like when you're talking about the steel, you're talking about like super top of the line. Yeah. Like you've gone through a lot of these and you've determined in your mind at least that steel, nothing is better than that. Yeah. And while it's manual, it still is the absolute best. So we're comparing a product to what you've already said is the best. Yeah.
So, well, and at some point we probably need to do an episode on this. There was, I think it was like 6 or 7 years ago, they completely redid the design on their backpack. And it was a complete disaster.
Really?
I mean, people were like writing them ugly, ugly letters.
Wow.
There was hate mail, and like I still have one of them.
Really?
That we need to bring it in here and take a peek at it. It's. I mean, like, it was the worst.
So, some person who's never used a backpack sprayer designed it.
Yes, that's exactly what it. I mean, like some guy that was like, you know what? Things just need to look more like spaceships. That's who designed this thing.
We need an aerodynamic backpack.
I was like, I don't need it to look cool. I need it to work.
Yes.
And they opted for cool.
Poor choice.
And it wasn't even cool. Wow. Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, let me ask you this question. So when you and I were talking about this offline at one point, that Milwaukee has... You can buy just a reservoir for it, right? Like they have separate reservoirs.
Reservoirs, yeah.
But
and different kinds of reservoirs too now.
Okay, so that's definitely a plus for them.
Oh yeah.
But I assume Ryobi does not have that.
No.
Okay.
That is an option though in their smaller sprayers.
Okay.
The 1 gallon and 2 gallon. You can buy separate tanks for those.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, and honestly, we don't mix out our products too much, but when we do, we flush the tank. I mean, like it's not difficult.
Sure.
So
it's not you don't find that you're losing anything with that necessarily.
No, not at all. Other bad thing is where the battery goes on this thing is kind of awkward. But looking at the Milwaukee, where the battery goes on that's kind of awkward too.
Okay.
This one's just extra awkward because it looks like a nose coming off the back of the tank.
Okay, so it kind of fits directly into the back.
It did and I think that would be fine. But what they did, and I don't know, I guess maybe they were trying to protect the battery. It has like a weird plastic covering that you have to undo and unsnap in order to put the battery in.
Yeah,
and it's not watertight, so I don't know like. I mean, I guess it would protect it from water. Like if it was like hit through, it wouldn't get as much water on it.
Sure.
And it has to be. They designed it to be really big because they wanted to be able to fit that 6 amp hour battery in there.
Right.
If you opted to upgrade.
So if you've got that 2 amp hour in there, it looks like there's a lot of wasted
There's
space.
a lot of room. You could fit a whole other battery in there. It's like,
that's actually where we store our batteries.
So.
Interesting.
So, yeah, and then the handle and the spray wand itself are obviously economical. I mean, they're plastic.
Sure.
There's not any metal on them. Even though they are plastic, they still feel pretty sturdy. But like just from my own experience, like I know it's not going to last long.
Yeah.
I mean, those things get tossed around the back of a truck. They get pulled out. I mean, they're constantly in and out. And that plastic can sometimes get hung up in the back of a truck, hung up on a shelf, and they just snap.
Yeah.
And once they snap, I mean, like you can't do anything because you typically don't have backup parts for that. So you're looking around for like another sprayer to like Frankenstein. And that typically never goes well.
Yeah. So do you know, are there replacement parts for that available readily?
I haven't gone looking for them.
Okay.
But I would imagine they are.
Yeah. I mean, you would think that something's got to be available for that kind of thing, especially.
Well, and I mean, here's a good tip for folks out there. I mean, like if that ever does happen to you, usually you can go to like a lawnmower repair shop. And I think like the usual ones around here are called outdoor equipment. I think it's
something like that.
Yeah. Any place that sells like B&G products or commercial mowers, things like that. Those guys are usually happy to help residential homeowners. If you bring your equipment in there, if something's wrong with it, and they can usually fix it for a pretty inexpensive price.
Sure.
I've actually taken my sprayers in before because like my steels actually have a warranty on them. And so like if parts go out on them, I can just take them in and they'll fix them.
Yeah.
And so those guys are really good about keeping parts and pieces to get your equipment back up and running, especially sprayers because they carry like gaskets and handles and wands and spray, fans and all that kind of stuff. And so like, even if you just want a different option, you can go in and say like, hey, do you guys have like a replacement for this wand in case it ever breaks. And you can usually pick it up for like $10 to $12.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not, especially the plastic ones. They're just not expensive. If you want to go metal, it's going to be a little pricier.
Sure. Well, and I would just think that for most people, what you're telling me is that this is a really good product. I mean, you're using this in a commercial setting.
Yes.
And it is intended it's probably, kind of geared toward the residential person, someone who's using it. And if you're using it, a few times a year, maybe even, goodness, let's say you went crazy, you used it once every other month, or maybe ever once every month just to kill weeds or whatever, like the likelihood of that plastic wand really breaking on you, unless you're, just kind of negligent with it, or you throw it around or whatever, if you're rough on your tools.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna do the job. What do you think?
Oh yeah. Well, and like at the end of the day, like if you use a backpack sprayer on a regular basis, one of the things that you should know, if you don't know already, is the thing that's more than likely going to break on that is the pump shaft.
Oh, okay.
It gets knocked off kilter. There's multiple gaskets, and it's actually a kind of an intricate little system that, at least on the steels and some of the other ones, that part of the reason the steel is because it actually has sustained pressure for longer than any other backpack sprayer out there.
Okay.
So whereas the Ryobi, it has constant pressure.
Constant.
And because it operates off of an electronic pump, there's not that shaft that's necessary. And so like it's less likely to break.
Yeah, because from what I know, just because you've been over my house using it, it kind of comes around your side, and it's got to be about your arm length, right? And so because of that, you've got that thing protruding all the time. So if you take that thing off and you trip over it, or you just try to get in the truck and it catches on something,
that part actually doesn't usually break, because that, at least on mine, that one's metal.
Okay, so it's not the shaft you're talking about.
I'm talking about the pump shaft.
Oh, okay.
So the actual innards of the backpack that actually build the pressure for the liquid. But yeah, like that thing does get hung up on stuff, and it makes it awkward to put in the truck.
Yeah. That
is actually a plus for the Ryobi. It takes up a lot less space in the truck bed because it doesn't have that handle.
Yeah.
But the pump shaft, actually, because of the gaskets and the shaft, and you have to like... Anyway, it's kind of there's actually like ball bearings in there that you have to sometimes remove in order to like get back pressure flowing again.
Man, sounds complicated.
It's complicated. It may not be working well.
Yeah.
So
whereas the Ryobi isn't going to have that.
It's not going to have that problem because it doesn't have that.
Right. It's just completely obsolete in that.
Right.
So it
negates that even being an issue, which is the most expensive thing to get fixed on the backpack sprayer. So
it's one of those deals where like I would assume that as long as you maintain your products, you're probably not going to have any issues with things breaking. But if it does, it's $140.
Right.
You're not paying the $300 for the other product that's out there.
Yeah.
That's their rival, so to speak.
Well, and with my steels, I will typically get 2 years out of them before they're no good anymore.
Okay.
And then we go buy new ones.
Yeah.
I'm going to be interested to see, because this is the only thing that we haven't really checked out with it, is how long is it going to last? Because if it goes longer than 2 years, I'm going to be impressed.
Sure. Yeah, but I would think that you're talking about efficiency. Like I understand the whole, going back if you have to respray over something, but your fatigue level is much different whenever you're, not having to pump all the time.
Yeah, it is awkward though when you're used to like having to constantly do that. You're like, what do I do with this hand now?
Right. It's I can actually review other products while I'm working the job.
I could be on the phone and free to punch hippies, whatever.
Right. Yeah. I'm sure you come across a lot of those.
Yeah. And they need punching.
They do.
So
every time.
Not because they've done anything bad,
But you're a hippie.
It's part of becoming a man.
Oh man.
Square punch in the jaw. That's what you...
Speaking of hitting people.
Yeah.
Your mom's really
are you gonna because if you bring it up, then we have to show people.
Well, I don't have a copy, but we talked about fanny packs,
right?
And we talked about that. One thing we know is that if you're wearing a fanny pack, then you're not going to win a boxing match. That was your statement.
Yeah.
And, let's just say this. Your mom's not someone to mess with. And I knew that, and I know that.
Yeah, you've experienced it firsthand now.
But I messed with her.
You messed with her.
Yeah. I made a comment. It was funny.
Yeah.
It was a funny comment.
It was a funny comment. I will give you that.
But it was...
I didn't like it.
It was it was directly, shot over the bow to your mom, and it landed. Mm-hmm. But she retaliated. Yeah. As I expected she would.
Yeah. And in kind.
She definitely did. By the way, I found more pictures today. So she shows up yesterday and she has these pictures of me with a fanny pack on that she has superimposed onto this picture.
Right.
And it's a black and white picture. And the fanny pack is pink. Which, I mean, who...
It wasn't just pink.
No, it was huge.
It was pink.
And it was pink. It was
and
huge,
a unicorn.
And it had a unicorn on it.
That's right.
Yeah. And she went to some effort to make this happen.
Yeah.
And then she posted them everywhere. Like they were all over the building that we were in. Like they were on my vehicle. And then this morning, I guess it was this afternoon, I walk into my office and like there's a picture of my office, and then there's one that she had shoved under the door. I mean, they were absolutely everywhere. And so talking about people that need punching, like we were talking about people, wear fanny packs and need to be punched.
Yeah.
So I guess I need to be punched right now.
Yeah, you kind of did.
I kind of did need to be punched.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not even going to say on the air what I said. It was funny though. I'll just put it that way.
Didn't she get some to your kids too?
Oh yeah, she even handed a couple to my kids in a sneaky way, and they were like, "Daddy, is this you?" I was like, "Of course it's me," but they're like, "This is funny," I was like, "It is funny. It is funny. It really is." But
so now we'll have to share with all the homeowner show folks the lovely Kevin fanny pack photo.
Hey, you know what? I have no shame.
You have no shame?
No.
Okay.
No. I honestly thought it was...
I intentionally didn't share it with folks because I was like, I don't know if he's going to be in.
No, I mean, things don't... And I just kind of roll with the punches. When I get punched, I just roll. I just roll.
What else are you going to do? You're wearing a fanny pack.
Exactly. Exactly. It's like, this morning, I think you... Maybe it was yesterday morning. Anyway, I guess it was this morning. You posted something about a bow on. Someone else said, "Could we just put a bow on it too?" And so you posted a picture of me with a bow on it, and I said, "Listen, I would never ever wear a bow that's that small. That is a small bow."
What I mean, like if the people ask, I'll deliver. I mean, like they said, well, just put a bow on it. I mean,
hey,
like, okay,
yeah, it happened. It happened, which it's fine. Whatever. We are way off topic.
Yeah, that's okay.
What else do we need to talk about in relation to the backpack sprayer that we haven't talked about?
If you want a battery operated backpack sprayer, this is a great option.
Okay.
And I really can't, I mean, like, again, Milwaukee, if you want me to test it, I'll test it.
Sure. But I'm not going to go buy it for $300. I'm going to buy this one for half that and know that it works pretty well.
Well, I mean, like, if I go get it, I'm going to be paying $400 because I don't have a Milwaukee battery.
You got to have that.
So, but yeah, I'm not willing to spend $400 to test out a backpack sprayer that may or may not work that well. I don't know.
Right.
Like I haven't tested it. I've seen some videos on it. It seems to perform pretty well.
Yeah.
It seems to perform about the same level as the Ryobi.
So what's the point in trying to go buy one of those whenever what you've got seems to be doing the job?
I could see me trying it out if I was already invested in that Milwaukee line. Yeah. And I'm not invested in the Ryobi line yet.
Yeah.
But they're making a strong case for themselves.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, I am.
Yeah.
I'm already invested in that line.
Yeah.
I invested in that line. Actually, I had some buddies that invested in that line for me. I think I've talked about that before. Mm-hmm. Back when I got married, they bought me a bunch of Ryobi products, and I've got dozens of tools.
Well, and I'll also say this. I actually reached out to DeWalt Because I was actually really hopeful that maybe they were developing a backpack sprayer.
Yeah.
Because I am very, very much in love with their concept right now.
Yeah.
I think the whole FlexVolt thing is brilliant.
Yeah, it is.
And I actually heard back from them.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. And they said that they are not planning, do not have one in development and do not plan on having one in development.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, golly. And they just came out with some other new tools recently that I'm like, those are really cool.
Yeah.
Some of their compact brushless stuff, man. Like I really like their, anyway, I like a lot of the stuff they're doing right now. The FlexVolt though, man, is just
It's smart.
It's so smart.
Yeah, it's smart.
I wish other tools would. I actually wish Ryobi had done that.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, it's one of those deals where it's like, they're basically saying, look, all of our tools can use the same battery, and we need to understand that not all our tools require the same voltage. So we're going to make it compatible with both.
Yeah,
and that's unusual. I mean, it's no secret on here that I'm a huge fan, and you are too, of the Ego products.
Yeah.
It's a 56 volt battery. It's large, but you would never use that on a drill. You would never put that on there.
Right.
But man, DeWalt's figured it out. That's awesome.
They are bringing out some smaller power tools that are taking advantage of the 60 volt though.
Yeah.
They have a circular saw that uses the 60 volt, and it's such a cool. I mean, like, it's a fantastic looking saw.
I bet it is.
It's I think it's like a $400 saw.
Wow. That's impressive.
But I mean, like, it's I mean, check it out. Go look it up. Is
it the plunge saw?
No,
that's just a regular
circular saw.
Interesting.
I mean, I say regular circular saw. It's obviously a lot more powerful than a lot of the other battery operated ones.
Well, and I'll tell you that up until something like that, I have a corded circular saw, and you just can't get most batteries to do what that'll do. But it sounds like they may have figured it out.
They may have. So DeWalt, we'd be happy to test that one out for you as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Send it over.
So, man, we managed to do close to an hour on a backpack sprayer by one brand. I mean, we dipped our toe in some other areas, but yeah, I think we're good.
I think we're good too. Thank you guys for downloading today's episode. And if you've not already done it, please go and rate and review us on iTunes. That would be fantastic. Send us some love. Download other episodes and subscribe to our channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, because we're still trying to pump out good quality.
Yeah, we're sending you guys some video.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's it. Craig, you got anything else?
I should,
but you don't. I don't. All right, well, guys, thanks for downloading today's episode. Again, I said it twice. That's fine. We're glad that you did, and we're here every Tuesday. So until next time, we'll see you later.
See you.